dogs and cats might look different than us, Tom Alexander told Ray Suvi Hill's 4th grade class. But are they really so different? Asking students what pets need, Alexander receives responses including food, water, shelter, and exercise, and writes them on a whiteboard. When a student chimes in with love, Alexander pauses. Love, he repeats. Oh boy, I'm going to put this one over here in big print. Alexander, a volunteer with the Santa Fe Animal Shelter, has spent about 2 decades teaching students how to be kind to animals. Since moving from Philadelphia to Santa Fe to retire, Alexander has volunteered with a variety of organizations. He's now on the board of Animal Protection New Mexico and People for Animal Welfare Society. He also developed the Caring Kids Wings and Paws program in partnership with New Mexico Wildlife Center. It's a free program for 4th graders, which aims to teach them how to interact with pets and wildlife using 4 core principles: responsibility, compassion, safety, and environmental awareness. More than 400 4th graders have gone through the program. Over the years, Alexander has seen shocking animal abuse and chronic overpopulation, the kinds of things that keep shelters around the nation at or over capacity. If things are ever going to change long-term in New Mexico, Alexander said, it's got to start in the hearts and minds of the kids. Joe and Tony Famartino didn't anticipate that years of traveling to remote South American villages on medical mission trips would ultimately lead them just a few miles from home, to Villa Therese Catholic Clinic. A few days a month, the two arrived together at the clinic on Hopewell Street to provide free eye exams to those who can't afford them. It's the same scene, said Joe, an ophthalmologist. These financially deprived people without health care, without the ability to pay for even real glasses. The Famartinos began volunteering at the free clinic in 2017. Through years of international humanitarian aid work, they realized the magnitude of the need that existed closer to home. Joe provides general eye exams at the clinic, as well as screening for issues like glaucoma and diabetes-related eye disease to help with referrals. Tony works as Joe's ophthalmology assistant, dilating eyes, running eye pressure tests, and helping take down patient information. Working in the room with Joe has been really gratifying, she said. Clara Lee Arnold, director of development for the clinic, said the couple exemplify everything you would hope for in a humanitarian aid doctor. Arnold said, "The thing about Tony and Joe is they give so much, and I don't necessarily just mean their time or their money. They give of themselves." Walter Futrell saw a problem that needed fixing. On a hike during the early months of the coronavirus pandemic, the outdoorsman noticed Norski Trail, just below the Santa Fe ski basin, was in need of some serious, tender, loving care. The trail was obstructed by dozens of dead trees. With no one else to clear them, Futrell got to work. As he did, inquiring minds hiking the trail started to ask him what he was doing. He described his mission: to make northern New Mexico trails as accessible to as many hikers as possible. And many of them joined the cause. Soon he had assembled a group of people dedicating hundreds of hours per year to maintaining trails, all for free. Futrell's group calls themselves the Termites. Members swarm trails to clear fallen trees and put in place measures to mitigate erosion so paths stay traversable. The group has expanded its work in recent years to include installing and maintaining dozens of signs on trails. Termites members emphasize the enormous effort Futrell has put into bringing them together, dedicating years of his retirement to local trails after a career as a fire protection engineer at nuclear defense facilities. said volunteer Steve Howard. When you see what he's done over time, it's pretty amazing the impact he has had. It's not just him in the woods, it's a group of people who are like-minded and wanting to do what he's put before them. Dr. Steve Jennison's idea of retirement is a real departure from that of most other people. Often, he is awakened in the middle of the night to respond to an hours-long structure fire in Embudo, Rinconada, or Velarde, rolling out of bed to look a crisis in the face. Now 72, Jennison is among a group of northern New Mexico locals who toil for no pay as a member of the Dixon Volunteer Fire Department. When Jennison, the department's chief, is called out, most of the time he is dealing with a neighbor or someone else he knows. Jennison said, generally people feel greatly comforted by the fact that there are people they know and recognize showing up in their bedroom or in their living room to take care of them. Jennison, who retired from medicine in 2010, has been a member of the Dixon Fire Department for 12 years. He has been the fire chief for the last 4. The department has made strides under Jennison's leadership, such as improving its response times. Jennison also is known for his broader community work, including leading trainings and teaching CPR to anyone who will listen. He provides regular medical and fire training to volunteer firefighters and also has spearheaded a summer cadet program for youth, during which they learn how to respond to emergencies. Jennison said, "When I retired, there was still this momentum within me." It started last winter when retired bed and breakfast owner Phyllis Johnson gathered leftover blankets from the business and took them to the homeless shelter on Cerrillos Road. There, people were huddled by the fence, bracing themselves against the below-freezing temperatures. Johnson only had 4 blankets, and she had to decide who to give them to. "I got back in the car after that and just wept," she said. "And I went home and found more blankets, more coats and gloves and hats and things, and then I started collecting them." From there, Phyllis Johnson and her husband Judge parked every Saturday at the Sticks and Stones vendor's lot on Old Las Vegas Highway to receive donations, soliciting winter clothes, blankets, and sleeping bags on Nextdoor. In all, they donated 180 coats and at least 50 sleeping bags over the winter. The couple now runs Rise Up Santa Fe, a nonprofit dedicated to providing home furnishings for formerly unhoused people. Operating out of a Clark Road warehouse filled to the brim with bed linens, wall art, dining chairs, and more, they collect, fix up, and deliver furniture and other home goods to people moving into transitional housing or new places of residence. The mission, Phyllis Johnson said, is to give people a feeling of home and pride of ownership instead of the 4 bare, sterile walls that often accompany someone's new house. So far, they have helped furnish 105 homes and counting. While preparing lunch together at the Interfaith Community Shelter at Pete's Place every Wednesday, Ann Alexander was always impressed by Jean Palmer's ability to connect with the guests they served. Alexander was more reticent, but she said Palmer always made friends with the people staying at the homeless shelter. Since the Interfaith Community Shelter's lease with the city of Santa Fe was terminated over the summer, the group has switched over to cooking weekly meals at Casa Familia, a homeless shelter in Santa Fe serving women and families. Palmer is a frequent presence at volunteer and advocacy events focused on the city's homeless residents and helped found a steering committee to explore a project to create wraparound homeless services on a campus in Santa Fe. She and Alexander are both members of the Santa Fe Housing for All Collaborative, where Palmer is part of the Community Education Subcommittee. As part of her work on the committee, Palmer helps organize regular panels on what it's like to be homeless. The panelists, Santa Feans with lived experience of homelessness, who volunteer to share their stories, receive coaching on public speaking from Palmer, a former educator who founded her own training company. Since 2022, a rotating group of panelists has presented more than 25 times. Palmer described it as some of the most rewarding volunteer work she's ever been a part of. Sometimes I might be helping them, but they're also helping me. New Mexico education officials have spent years engineering a patchwork of legislation to improve math proficiency rates. But for James Taylor, the cause is simple. The tyranny of the textbook pulled most of the joy out of math. But instead of echoing calls to make math fun, he aims to make it human, a playful endeavor full of collaboration, history, and struggle. Taylor is an instructor, director, and founder of Math Amigos, which brings math to pre-K through 9th grade classrooms across Santa Fe public schools and other rural and Pueblo districts across northern New Mexico. A longtime Santa Fe prep math and computer science teacher, Taylor encourages a math teaching style that subverts traditional approaches. He encourages students to work through problems themselves. He employs the concept of math circles, which brings together students to explore challenging math problems in a collaborative environment. Taylor founded Math Amigos in 2017 and now serves as director of the New Mexico Math Circles Collaborative and as a regional coordinator with the Alliance of Indigenous Math Circles. He also runs math circles for teachers. They can't just walk in and do math circles without experiencing the struggle themselves, he said. Jeffrey Moon, an overseer with the district's gifted program and fellow Math Amigos director, credited Taylor with boosting teacher confidence in math and tripling participation in international contests since 2021. Taylor said, "Kids have to learn their way, and they have to learn a new culture of investigation, of inquiry before they realize, oh yeah, this is my stuff." College was always in the cards for Deanna Vigil. Paying for it, however, was a different matter. I realized my senior year I was going to need to really hustle, so I applied for pretty much all the local scholarships I could, even a few national ones, said Vigil, who grew up in El Rancho in the Poake Valley. The scholarship she earned, plus working as a resident advisor in the dorms at the University of New Mexico, paved the way to a biology degree and a job at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Now 33, Vigil is using her firsthand experience navigating the financial challenges of a post-secondary education to help other northern New Mexico students reach their college potential. She serves on the Los Alamos Employees Scholarship Fund Advisory Committee, where she is known for her student outreach, as well as on the board of the Poake Valley School District Educational Foundation. Vigil also established a scholarship through the Poake Valley Catholic Daughters. The award has grown to 2 scholarships totaling $1,500 in 2025. Mike Ammerman, Scholarship Program Director for the Lannel Foundation, hailed Vigil's contributions, saying her personal story resonates with students. When students hear from somebody who comes from the same community that they came from, and then finds a really amazing career where they get to stay in New Mexico, it makes a difference. Joan Wheelock Gonzalez grew up used to feeling like she didn't belong. Born to a father from the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin and a Finnish-American mother, Wheelock Gonzalez lived in 7 states throughout her childhood. I appreciated every place we lived, she said, but as a kid, I was always the outsider. So about 2 decades ago, when Wheelock Gonzalez heard friends Randy and Jackie Cheeto's dream to found a center where Native Americans living in and around Santa Fe could connect and support each other, she was immediately on board. Wheelock Gonzalez used her skills from years working at nonprofits and as a bookkeeper to help co-found what is now known as the Santa Fe Indigenous Center. The center formally incorporated in 2008. Wheelock Gonzalez was elected board chair of the organization for 8 years. An early priority was establishing an emergency fund for Native families and individuals in need. Volunteers raised money through private donations and an annual fry bread sale. To bring the community together, the center has held an annual potluck, and this year the organization held its 3rd annual Honoring Native Nations powwow on the Santa Fe Plaza. Wheelock Gonzalez said that she's tried to live her life in service of others. A quote I've heard many times, but I took to heart, is that your life is a gift from the Creator, and what you do in your life is your gift back to the Creator. There is more to Monty Yellowbird Sr. than meets the eye. A member of the Arikara and Hidatsa Nations, Yellowbird is an artist, an alumnus, and former artist in residence at the Institute of American Indian Arts. He is known for his vibrantly colored ledger art, mixed media paintings, and bronze sculptures. At 65, he wears his white hair in braids and holds the title of Elder in Residence at the Arts-Focused Institute, where his contributions include raising funds for scholarships, mentoring students informally, and supporting the community through cultural practices. He also is a first-year teacher at the school, where the student body includes people from nearly 100 different tribal nations. But he doesn't teach art. He teaches Taekwondo, a martial art form which originated in Korea. And his classes aren't just about kicks, hand strikes, and blocks. They are about character building, manifestation, and responsibility. What I'm really trying to get across is, it's about forgiveness and gratitude, Yellowbird said, adding gratitude for who we are, that we have this time, and forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. Alex Karowski, a 29-year-old senior who recently earned his white belt in Yellowbird's class, says his teacher uses humor and discipline to impart knowledge in unexpected ways. He's like my own personal native, Mr. Miyagi, in the sense that we are learning an art form and with it, lessons about life along the way.